Yes, people. Welcome back to the finished article and welcome to all things wrestling. As the title says, we're covering the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, the WWE pay-per-view held in Saudi Arabia, which was yesterday afternoon in some places, yesterday evening over here in the UK, and I think it was quite late over in Saudi when it was over there. But what I'll do is I'll bring my boy Shaz on, because I say we, I mean me and my boy Shaz. We are both going to be getting through this. We're going to go through the card. We'll run down the winners and we'll go through and give you our reactions and thoughts on it. So without further ado, here he is, the tag team partner.
What's happening, bro? You good?
I'm good, bro. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad, bro. Not bad. Oh, good. Let's roll, bro. Let's roll.
Let's roll, bro. Let's roll. So before we get into anything, we've got to go through this. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. Like the videos you like the content for. Leave comments. Let us know what you think of what we've talked about, what else we can talk about. And as always, subscribe to the channel and help us on that push, on that race to 200. Please, as I said, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the little bell notification, so every time we post a video or we go live, you'll get a notification just to let you know. And follow us on social media. The Facebook and Twitter for the channel are below. And the email address is here if you want to get onto the show. If you want to come on as a guest, if you want to help run a show, drop us an email. Let us know what show. Let us know a bit about you, where you're from, how old you are, what stuff you're into, and what shows you want to get onto and stuff like that. And we'll work something out with you. But the number one thing that my boy wants to get trending, Vince out.
Vince out.
Hashtag Vince out.
Yeah, and I think that holds true even after the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, because that was more like a crown piece of shit.
Wow, my man's straight in it. And that man is straight into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the whole card and I'll give you all the winners. And once we've done that, we'll go through and we'll talk about each match and we'll give you our thoughts and opinions. So as it says there, we are going to give you our reaction to Crown Jewel once we've gone through the card. So I'll go through it quickly because obviously if you've watched it, you know who the winners are. If you haven't watched it, you're probably best off forward in a couple of minutes so you don't get any spoilers, because I don't want to be Paul Heymans and give you any spoilers. You know what I mean? But
as he says, it's not a spoiler, it's a prediction.
Exactly. So as we all know, it was from the Mohammed Abdu Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The kickoff show featured the Hurt Business of Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin against the Usos, Jimmy and Jay. The Usos coming out with the victory. I didn't see this going any other way. The first match of the main event of the actual card itself was Edge versus Seth Rollins in the Hell in a Cell match, with the winner being Edge. Then we had Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali. And as always, Mansoor wins whilst he's in Saudi. He doesn't win anywhere else most of the time. Then we went on to the Raw Tag Team Championship match. RK Bro, Randy Orton and Riddle versus AJ Styles and Omos. And still the Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro. We then moved on to the finals of the Queen's Crown Tournament. Doudrop versus Selena Vega. The winner being Selena Vega and the first ever Queen's Crown holder. We then moved on to Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley in a no-holds-barred match. And I'm guessing everyone thought this, but Goldberg won. We then moved on to the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. The Prince Finn Balor taking on Xavier Woods. And Xavier Woods took the victory and got King of the Ring. I'll give you my thoughts on that later on. Then we moved on to the next match, which was the WWE champion Big E defending the title against Drew McIntyre. and the winner was, and still, Big E, the WWE champion. Then we moved on to the SmackDown Women's Championship. Becky Lynch being the champion. Triple threat match against Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Becky Lynch winning. Then we moved on to the main event of the evening. The big dog, as we used to call him, but the tribal chief, the head of the table, defending the Universal Championship against the Beast, Brock Lesnar. And to me, no surprise, Roman Reigns won and retained the championship. So, Shaz, I know I've been rambling on for a while there. So let's move on to the kickoff show match. The Hurt Business versus the Usos. What are your thoughts on that, bro? What were your thoughts?
Well, I actually enjoyed this match because obviously the Usos, I've watched them since they started, and obviously it was good to see the Hurt Business back together. We talked about this a while back. I don't think they should have split up. It was a stupid move from the right.
Yeah, I mean, how long were they split up for? A couple of months. Yeah, MVP gets injured and then they come back.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it just didn't make sense. It was hard to see them back. I enjoyed this because I think it was pretty much end to end between the both teams. But as Shaz said, it was hardly any surprise that the Usos weren't going to win. Because let's be honest.
I mean, they're part of the bloodline in it, so the bloodline always win. They always show up in it. Yeah, no, definitely, bro. I get you on that. It was a good match. I thought the Hurt Business did their, no pun intended, did their business in the ring, but they came up short against the Usos. But I mean, a win for the Hurt Business wouldn't have done them anything here against the Usos because they're not on SmackDown. If they were on SmackDown and they beat the Usos, they get a tag team title shot, but they're not on SmackDown, so I think the result was the best result for this match. Yeah. Move on. Like I just said this to Shaz. The first match of the card was Edge versus Seth Rollins in a Hell in a Cell match. The biggest match on the card, if you ask me, with the history involved. And I think this should have been closer to the end of the show instead of the opening match because these two set the bar really high.
Yeah.
I thought it was a brilliant match. There was some moments in that match where I thought Seth Rollins was going to win, especially when he wrapped the chain around his foot and did them super kicks to Edge. I thought it was over then. But you know, Edge being Edge came back resilient, took the win. What are your thoughts on it, Shaz?
Yeah, again, this is probably the match of the night. End-to-end action. Edge and Seth Rollins building up a great feud. It was funny because Rollins was the first one to hit the cell wall with Edge moving out of the way, which is, you know, it's pure comedy watching that. But no, great match. I like the fact that they vibed off each other. They just had good chemistry. They didn't have to hold each other up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it wasn't Mayweather versus one of the Paul brothers, in it. So
exactly, yeah. And I was effectively glad that that Edge won. So
yeah, no, definitely. So as I said before, Shaz, Edge beat Edge Lite. That's the only way I'm going to say it. I absolutely love the promo that Edge did where he calls Seth Rollins Edge Lite. But recently he said he was wrong. He's not Edge Lite. He's his own person. But the winner of this match proved that wrong. Edge beat Edge Lite. Like Seth Rollins tried to do more than what Edge would have done to win, but he couldn't top what Edge would do to win this match. I mean, Edge is the ultimate opportunist, and he will go and do whatever it takes to win. And that showed with the low blow with the steel chair when Seth Rollins was going for the stomp.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, for me, funny enough, I like Seth Rollins' finishing move, the stomp. It's definitely put a lot of people away. But just generally, I have to agree with you on this, that I don't understand why this was a match at the start of the night. This should have been saved further down the line because, as we said, uh,
Yeah.
the rest of the card was pretty much shit.
Oh
No
yeah.
other way to describe
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah. We are going to get onto the rest of the shit card. Don't you worry, bro. I mean, as an opening match, I thought this was going to set the bar really high for the rest of the match, and it did. It set the bar really high, and I don't think some of the other matches lived up to it. Like the Queen's Crown match, I didn't even watch it. I just forwarded it. The women's triple threat match for the championship, again, I don't think that would have lived up to it. So I forwarded that. I didn't enjoy. I don't enjoy the women's wrestling, to be honest, in WWE or in AEW. To be fair, I just think it's really badly put together.
I mean, I'll give you a good example. So one of the things I'm picking up is Rollins seems to love targeting people's eyes. I mean,
Yes.
it's almost as weird as like Randy Orton back in the day trying to rip off Jeff Hardy's ear. I mean,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
you
Oh
remember
shit.
that? So I mean, some of the things that they do are just a bit weird. But then I've come to expect that with WWE kind of running out of ideas as to how to keep their show going, especially with how good AEW is doing right now.
Yeah. A little bit of interesting news. Last week on Friday, SmackDown and Rampage went head to head for like a half hour. So the end of SmackDown went head to head with the start of Rampage, and Rampage had an extra half hour, like a buy-in, as they called it, a special buy-in. So they got an extra half hour. Rampage actually beat SmackDown in ratings.
It was hardly surprising, bro. I'm not gonna.
So the ratings war is on, and Tony Khan from AEW, he's 100% behind it. He 100% believes AEW will beat WWE in ratings wars. And that's why, I mean, WWE wanted to test the water. They wanted to see if they could beat AEW by giving SmackDown an extra half hour and calling it SmackDown Supersized for whatever reason they wanted to. That was the last episode on SmackDown in that season, as they call it. So the season premiere of SmackDown starts tomorrow. Tonight. Sorry, tonight is the season premiere of SmackDown, which is why the roster from the WWE draft, the new rosters take effect from today, and they weren't taking effect from before.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's why they did it. It was a season premiere on the 22nd, so they wanted to have the new roster start from today, which makes sense. It was a bit bizarre to hear that the rosters have been split, the new draft has gone through, but the new rosters don't start till the 22nd. It was a bit weird, if you ask me.
Yeah, true.
We've got a comment from Darren. Sasha should have won the triple threat women's match. Totally don't agree with just swapping the women's belts tonight. Make Charlotte earn the belt. Yeah, I can see that happening. The Raw women's champion and the SmackDown women's champion will just swap belts and go to their respective shows. They did it with the tag team titles last year, and they're going to do it. They'll do it again this year. But I think it's stupid. If you're moving from one show to another as the champion, you either take that title with you or you're stripped of that title, and they should have a new tournament for that title. It will make things more interesting that way.
Yeah, freshen up. It needs a bit of a fresh impetus anyway.
Yeah, exactly. WWE needs to have more fresh ideas. Like AEW are using a title eliminator tournament to crown a new number one contender. And I absolutely love the eliminator tournaments. They don't shy away from putting, big matches in the tournament. Like last year, the tournament final was Adam Page versus Kenny Omega. And they were tag team partners at the time. They just lost the tag team titles. So I think AEW used the talent and the idea is better than WWE, and WWE need to pick up if they want to. So Vince doesn't see AEW as competition, and that's a very stupid move from Vince, because by the time he realizes their competition, they're going to be a bigger problem than they already are.
Yeah, I mean, on that, I'm glad you brought that up. So the problem is he can't see out of his own asshole right now. That's how bad it is.
His head's so far up his own ass he can't see.
Yeah, it's that bad, and not only that, but bro, you know what? There's no excitement watching these pay-per-views or like the SmackDowns or okay, SmackDown's fine because you got the head of the table, but what needs to happen now is your boy Dwayne Johnson needs to come in and lay the
Do you know
SmackDown
what?
once
Do you
can,
know
yeah.
what? I don't even think The Rock coming back's going to save WWE right now, bro.
And
I know it'd be a very good storyline with him coming back and feuding with Roman Reigns
you know what? The
and that.
storyline I
I'd love
pictured
it.
it. You know the storyline picture it. This is sick, bro. Trust me. You pay me to write this shit. This shit will get you. This shit will shit all over AEW. So
Go
what's
for it,
gonna
bro.
happen in my head, and this is just my way of thinking, is you got your boys Usos and you got your boy Roman Reigns giving it large, blah blah blah. You know, acknowledge me. Uh,
Acknowledge
Paul,
me.
Paul Heyman being a bitch in the middle as always. And the best bit was the first thing that happens is Reigns finishes up by saying acknowledge me, to which the Rock's music hits. All pandemonium, everyone, the Rock,
Everyone was
got my
sick.
Rock, mic drop from the Rock. Then the Usos are like, listen, bro, we got this. And then Rikishi comes out, to which it gets even funnier because they're like, listen, boys, you're amateurs, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And then these two go into the ring, and then Rikishi face plants Roman Reigns just for jokes.
Oh dear, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. I don't know if you've watched NXT recently. There's a new superstar debuting. What's he called? Rikishi. It's Rikishi's youngest son, the Usos' younger brother. Oh, come on. His name's Joseph Fatu, but there's a name that he's got in NXT, man. I can't remember what name they've given him.
No idea. I agree with this next comment from Darren. Actually, whilst you look
Yeah,
for a
I've
name,
just read that as well.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
WWE's boy. Yeah, Darren, you're absolutely right. I think the product's died. It needs reinvigorating, and you know what? We could all of us could probably write a better storyline than what Vince and his boys are doing right now.
Yeah,
So, as always.
yeah. No, I can't find his name that he's going to be using in NXT, but they had a promo. Yeah, they had a promo on the past 2 weeks of NXT that he's debuting. And he's going to be debuting at NXT Halloween Havoc on Tuesday. So we'll go through the rest of the matches, Shaz. Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali. I don't even see a point in this match. They were doing well as a tag team. Now, I knew this was coming. As soon as I saw them being partnered up, I'm like, right, they're going to end up turning on each other and they're going to have, the finale match of the feud at Crown Jewel because that's Mansoor and, that's Mansoor's home country. And he doesn't lose whilst he's over there. Like, I don't understand why he would lose to Mustafa Ali.
Yeah.
Like, I get that he's the home favorite, right? But the WWE do this a lot. They bring the home favorite and they have the home favorite win. And I think it's ridiculous. Mustafa Ali is one of the most underrated wrestlers on that roster. Now, I think we spoke about this before, Shaz, where we spoke about he was supposed to get that push that Kofi Kingston got to the title when Kofi won it at WrestleMania, Kofi Mania. Now, I would have loved to see, him coming back, from his injury that Randy Orton caused at the time, and then winning the title. I mean, it was a brilliant opportunity for him to win.
No doubt, bro. No doubt. And I think this is where they're missing the opportunities. They're just not understanding that there was no need for them to feud in the first place. But this comes down to poor planning and not understanding how to use talent.
Yeah, no, exactly, bro. It's just crazy. That's it. Darren's just brought his name up. Solo Sikoa. That's the name of Rikishi's youngest son in NXT, and I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'll be back in just a minute, bro. I'll just be back in a minute. You just carry on with the next match, the Raw Tag Team Championship, and I'll be back in just a sec, bro. Sorry.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. So following that match, we had the RK Bro versus AJ Styles, and and again for me, this was a bit disappointing because really the title wasn't going to change hands. There were a couple of great moments, but it fell away, and it really felt like they were holding each other back. It was hard to pinpoint exactly where they were. It's almost like they were stuck in a certain gear, like third gear, and couldn't take it to the next level. Randy Orton, we love him hitting the arcade or out of nowhere. It never gets old. But Styles is also good at everything. So it was just a great pairing when that happened. I mean, in all honesty, it was kind of a expected result. The RK Bro would retain, and nothing more to add on that. I mean, just in general, again with the talent, look at pairings. Yes, it works, but it doesn't change the fact that it was an average match. The next match we have is Doudrop versus
Yo, I'm back, bro. I'm back.
Oh, okay,
What did I miss, bro? What did I miss?
So I just went through the RK Bro.
All right, okay, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, the match was a decent match. I rate AJ Styles very highly. We already spoke about it. He's not being used properly, just being thrown in a tag team with Omos. I think he should be on a singles run with Omos as his bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to back in the days when Shawn Michaels had Diesel as his bodyguard. Yes, they won the tag team championships and ended up splitting up and feuding for the championship after. But AJ Styles and Omos don't seem like they're gonna have. They haven't got that friction where they're gonna split up. I mean, if you've got a guy like Omos and you're not winning matches for the tag team titles, what is the point?
True.
He's like, they built him up as this, unbeaten. He's actually still unbeaten in singles competition, and he's never been pinned, even in a tag team match. Now, I'd love to see him on a singles run, but I don't think he's got enough in him to be a good wrestler. I mean, I've seen him in the ring, and he's very... I don't know, man. It just doesn't look like he's got enough to be a good wrestler.
Here's my take on this. So, to put it bluntly, if I give you the analogy of having Fred and McTominay,
here we go,
covering for Varane and Maguire, it's like having Omos cover for AJ Styles. Why? AJ Styles is better than that. And I think they're just underselling him. They just literally this is the hottest talent that's come to WWE in the last 10 years. And this is how bad it's got for him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why he's been thrown into a tag team and go for the tag team titles. It's like AJ Styles is better than being in a random tag team with Omos and losing matches to RK Bro for the tag team titles. AJ Styles should be main eventing against Big E. He should be, building his way up in singles competition, fighting Drew McIntyre, beating Sheamus, beating the main eventers, and then going for the title against Big E.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got the perfect person to help him win it, almost. So this is the problem with WWE. They just don't know. They don't know what to do with some of the talent, and they just do these random things like put him in a tag team, AJ in a tag team with Omos. It's just ridiculous.
They've run out of ideas. Wouldn't be surprised if
AJ said, I mean, this next comment says it all, right? From the match of RK Bro versus AJ and Omos, The best bit was Riddle coming into the ring on a camel. And it literally was probably the best part of the match. That's how bad that match was.
Wow.
And it had AJ Styles in this match. Don't get me wrong, the ending was good. AJ did the springboard into the ring with the flying forearm and got RKO'd in midair by Randy Orton. Darren has got a comment there about Man United and Liverpool. I'm not going to bring it up because this is about wrestling and WWE and stuff like that. So, but do you know what? I get your comment. I do get it about United. And it probably will happen, like we spoke about in the Fergie Time video yesterday. But Shaz, you were moving on to the next match, the Queen's Crown final, Doudrop versus Selena Vega. I'll let you go on to that, bro.
Yeah, so this was for the Queen's Crown title. So this is the equivalent of King of the Ring, which has been around for ages. But we're in the 21st century, and it's all about equality. So here we go. First ever Queen's tournament. And I'll be honest with you, no offense. Actually, every offense intended.
Thank you, Shaz. Thank you.
I didn't actually watch this match. That's
like I said before, bro. I forwarded it all.
I was like, I didn't watch it. I went for a cup of tea and took a break. So I'm not even going to bother. But Zelina winning again. I don't get it. She came.
Bro, you know what I mean? Let's just move on to the next match, bro.
Okay, let's move on.
Because I don't even want to talk about it. I didn't watch it. I don't really care who won. Pointless tournament for Queen's Crown. The King of the Ring has been around since 1985. So that has a very big history in WWE. But having a Queen's Crown, just to have the Queen's Crown for equality, as Shaz says, stupid. Very stupid. The next match was Oldberg versus Bobby Lashley in a no holds barred match. Yes, I did just say Oldberg. I did not miss the G off. I said it on purpose. He is Oldberg versus Bobby Lashley. This guy's in his 50s, right? How old's Bobby Lashley?
From mid-30s. Or 40s.
Bobby Lashley is 45. Wow, I didn't even realize he was 45. I thought he was in his early 30s or late 30s, to be fair. But either way, a 55-year-old beating a 45-year-old who looks like Bobby Lashley is just stupid. Goldberg, I get why he comes back for the big matches in Saudi because there's a big payout, but he shouldn't be winning those matches. His time's over as a superstar, as a main eventer. He should now be used to put over younger talent like Bobby Lashley. He put over Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. So why can't he put Bobby Lashley over in a non-title match as well at Crown Jewel?
I think this was one that WWE played into the fans' hands and said, look, we're in Saudi. Everyone knows Goldberg. So they wanted to just roll with the punches and roll with the...
Absolutely daft.
Reaction.
It's absolutely ridiculous, bro. Goldberg should not be in matches where he's winning them, especially like this. I can understand like the matches where he's winning. People that are lower down in the card just to build him up a bit and then have him lose to bigger talent. He should be used as a stepping stone for younger talent to then move up into main event. Like, it would have been good to have Big E fight Goldberg and beat him and then go into the main event and win the world championship. But, regardless, Big E won the championship and I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm glad Big E won it because I actually enjoy Big E. And
100%,
it's just great to see the New Day doing so well.
Yeah, there's two members of the New Day that have won a world title. Xavier Woods is the only one that hasn't.
Yeah.
At this point. And I do hope he does win one of the Universal Championship or the World Championship going forward. Now that he's won King of the Ring, does that now put him in contention for a title shot on SmackDown versus Roman Reigns? That's how it would normally work. If you win King of the Ring, you then get built up to be in the main event against whoever the champion is. That's how the King of the Ring tournament was done back in the day. It was used to put over talent that they wanted to see go into the main event.
Yeah, no doubt.
So yeah, I'd love to see Xavier Woods fight Roman Reigns for the World Championship, Universal Championship. He probably won't win it. Don't get me wrong, but it's just one of those things. I would like to see Xavier Woods now go on to win the World Championship or the Universal Championship. Yeah, exactly. As Darren said here, King of the Ring made Austin 316. If Austin didn't win the King of the Ring, there would be no Austin 316.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think
Brock Lesnar won King of the Ring at one point. Edge has won it. Triple H has won it. There's loads of names of great wrestlers that have won it.
Yeah, it's a very important tournament, and I think the main thing that you can pick up from that is that it's got history attached to it.
So 100%, bro, 100%.
The fact that you've got all these wrestlers winning it means it gives them that push to go on to the next stage of their career.
Yeah, but last year, was it Baron Corbin that won it?
Yeah, because WWE dropped the ball. They kind of he won it, but they didn't do anything with him after.
Oh, bro, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Baron Corbin win? He won Money in the Bank.
Yes.
Yeah. And then he never won the championship.
No.
He's one of the only people to win Money in the Bank and then not win a title after it. Him and Mr. Kennedy was the other, I believe.
I remember, Mr. Kennedy winning it back in the day, but not actually utilizing it. Yeah.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. So it's just bizarre that things like this are happening, bro. They're using it to build up the talent, but then the talent's not doing anything to win, the World Championship.
Yeah, but are you really surprised though? Because at this point,
oh no, I'm not surprised. I'm just Vince knows the history of the tournament because he invented this tournament. So why is he now? He's not using it properly. Xavier Woods beat Finn Balor at Crown Jewel to become King of the Ring 2021, but we won't see Xavier Woods win a world title in the next 2 years or so.
No.
I don't even think he'll get a push to the main event, bro. Which he should do because he's like I said, he's always underutilized. Yeah. So Darren says this perfectly. Always the same wrestlers that challenge for the title. And that's the problem. They're not building other stars. They're not bringing other people through and making them into superstars and main event wrestlers. They're just using the same old. Well, you've got Seth Rollins, Edge, Cesaro, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. That's your 5 on SmackDown. You've got Big E, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and people like that over on Raw. I know I've mixed some of them up, but those are the main people that you see having title shots. And AJ Styles should 100% be up there.
I've always said that AJ Styles was the bigger player in WWE than what he's currently demonstrating.
Oh, yeah, 100%. When he first came and he was on that singles run and he was winning the world title and stuff, that was good for him. And then he had his backup from the club. He had Gallows and Anderson with him. Now, what I would like to see, or would have liked to see, is AJ, Gallows and Anderson, and Finn Balor. Them 3 feud with Finn Balor.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know if you know, Shaz, the Bullet Club that was made in New Japan Pro Wrestling was made by Finn Balor, Prince Devitt, as he was called, in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Mm-hmm, correct.
And Gallows and Anderson were in there. Now, when he left New Japan to come to NXT and WWE, AJ Styles debuted in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they kicked the Prince, Finn Balor out of the club for AJ to then be the leader. So they've got the element there of the history between them to have a feud.
Yeah, but it depends on whether they actually utilize that brewing tension to actually make a storyline. And I,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can't trust them as far as they
The
count.
thing is, though, WWE won't use something that's happened outside of WWE as part of a WWE storyline. They won't use what's happening in New Japan Pro Wrestling between them to have that feud. They'll mention, like, when AJ and Samoa Joe had their feud on SmackDown. I thought that was a really good feud when AJ was the champ. But that could have been built up so much more and so much better because they've had so much history between them in Impact Wrestling and in Ring of Honor. They could have brought some of that into it. Maybe not mentioning the feuds or the promotions, but mentioning that they've faced off so many times and they've had this many wins against each other. It would have been better.
Yeah, no doubt.
And Darren said this as well perfectly. They ruined the NXT guys on the main roster. Karrion Kross should be a main eventer, but they've ruined him on the main roster. They ruined him on his first day. Whilst he was still NXT champion, he made his debut on Raw against Jeff Hardy and lost by a roll-up and Jeff Hardy cheating. And at this point, he was still undefeated on NXT or in WWE.
Oh, yeah,
That just goes to show how bad the planning and the writing is in WWE.
Yeah, we had this discussion the other week when we talked about it. It's like, there's no logic behind what they're looking to try and do.
Exactly,
like,
bro.
Why
exactly.
would you do that? It just doesn't make sense. Even the new frame is shit.
Yeah, no, exactly, bro. You're right. Now the next match, I actually enjoyed the build up to it. I enjoyed the match slightly, but not as much as I thought I would. Big E versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Now, it was obvious that Big E wasn't going to lose because they're building him up to be a good champion, and I hope he holds the title a long time.
Yeah.
The match against Drew put him over as beating a former two-time champion, which makes him, even more bigger than he already was. He now needs to go on and beat people like Sheamus, AJ Styles, and a couple of other people that have held the title, like they've done with Roman Reigns. They've just thrown everyone in front of him, like John Cena included, and Brock Lesnar. Why can't they do the same for Big E? Give him the big names because he's the one that deserves them. Like we've seen Roman Reigns beat John Cena before. We've seen Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar countless times. We don't need to keep seeing that, but Big E versus them two would be really good for Big E to win those matches and be put over by beating two, John Cena's a 16-time world champion, and Brock Lesnar, that name itself just I beat Brock Lesnar on that resume just shows how big of a superstar you are.
Exactly, yeah. They don't use the talent properly. It's just dwindling away.
Not at all. Exactly, bro. Exactly. The next match, I didn't really watch it. Women's Championship for SmackDown. Becky Lynch defending against Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. I didn't really care who won this match. Didn't watch it. I know Becky Lynch won. It says here she won. I don't think WWE have actually had a title change in Saudi Arabia, have they? From my recollection, I don't think they've had.
Bro, that's how bad it is. They haven't even had that.
They do it. The only reason they do the shows in Saudi is because they get paid a heck of a lot of money to do it. That's the only reason Vince McMahon still goes there. Because the Saudi government pay him a lot of money to bring WWE there at least once or twice a year. They have a 5-year deal with them, which is probably running out next year or the year after.
I think it'll be finished pretty soon anyway. It just depends on how long.
I think because the last year they didn't do any shows. I'm guessing that year got added on to the end of the contract because of the pandemic and the coronavirus and stuff. So I'm guessing it's just going to be an extra year on top because of that. Now, what I don't get is why the Women's SmackDown Championship match was basically the core main event of this show instead of Edge and Seth Rollins. Or even Big E and Drew McIntyre. That's a championship match. Why couldn't that be It's like they don't really care that Big E's a champion. They're not giving him the main events. They're not giving him the co-main events. They're just giving him the title and saying, run with it.
Yeah, they're basically saying, here's a blank canvas. You go carry on building what we built originally.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
Something.
Like, I get Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns is probably the main attraction on that card, right? But it didn't need to be the main event. I mean, that match could have been the co-main event, and Big E versus Drew McIntyre could have been the main event, and they still would have had the same amount of people watching the show.
Yeah, easily. The problem with Crown Jewel for me has never been the place where titles really change hands.
No, it's not that a title's going to change hands. I mean, having Big E versus McIntyre as the main event and Big E winning and closing the show puts him over as a legitimate champion, which is he's never going to get that whilst Roman Reigns is still champion on SmackDown.
Yeah,
because of the storyline that he has.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't think he'll get the respect he deserves either.
He won't get that respect, bro. He's a champion, but he's not going to get the respect that he deserves to be that champion. I'm happy he's champion, but I'm not happy in the way that they're treating him and they're using him. Darren mentioned something here, Shaz, because it's Becky, that's why. Well, basically, she's one of Vince's favorites. Yeah, just like Roman Reigns and John Cena, she's one of Vince's favorites. So, and Charlotte Flair, they're just going to keep winning title after title, aren't they? It's just ridiculous.
Oh wow.
Well, let's get on to the main event, Shaz. The WWE Universal Championship match between the head of the table, the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, defending his championship against the Beast Brock Lesnar. Now, what I do want to mention is, where does Paul Heyman's loyalty lie? Right now, the reason I'm saying that is because the way this match ended. Brock Lesnar was asking Paul Heyman to give him the title, and he just threw it in the middle between Brock and Roman. To me, that shows he's still scared of Brock Lesnar, and he still wants to be his advocate, but also he still wants to be the special counsel to Roman Reigns. But he can't have both.
Well, he can't have both, and he needs to decide now where his career lies, because effectively, if anybody comes to see him now, be like, listen, bro, I saw you on Fast and Furious 8, whatever it was, and now you're busting. This is, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, bro. It doesn't make any sense at all. This is WWE, though. I think we've been saying this for the past, 4 or 5 months or 6 months, 7 months since we've been doing the podcast. WWE just don't know what they're doing right now. And during that time since we've started, I've got you into AEW, and you actually think AEW is better than WWE. And to put it in context, me and Shaz stayed up to watch SummerSlam in August. Was it August? July, August, whenever it was. We stayed up to watch it. And we weren't disappointed fully. Like, Brock Lesnar returned, so it was a surprise to see him return. But after the show, I put on CM Punk's debut on AEW Rampage, that 15-minute start of the show, and Shaz enjoyed that 15 minutes more than he enjoyed the whole of SummerSlam. That's how bad it is.
I got my fix in 5 minutes as opposed to watching the 5 hours of dog
what
shit.
we were looking for to get from SummerSlam, we didn't get, but Shaz got it when he watched CM Punk debut in AEW. He got them goosebumps in it, Shaz.
Although that was epic. I remember we were coming to the end of the night, like similar to how I'm feeling right now. I just need a power nap. And all of a sudden Shaz says, go watch this. He puts it on, and I'm like, wow, it's mind-boggling.
This was like 4:30, 5 a.m.
Yeah. It was a crazy one.
It was crazy. It was crazy. But the big news in here is Roman Reigns finally defeated Brock Lesnar. Like, I think that's the first time he's actually beat him in a one-on-one match, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, what's next for the head of the table? Like, who's left?
Well, I think from the current list, hardly anybody. which is
I
why
mean, that's why they brought Drew McIntyre over from SmackDown so he can beat him, Shaz. What you want about? Even though he's already beat him, he's just going to beat him again. Now that he's a 2-time champion, he's going to beat him again. He's going to beat Sheamus as well. Sheamus is on SmackDown. And then they're going to do another WWE draft and bring more people over from Raw that he hasn't beat.
It's like deja vu watching this.
And he'll probably end up beating Xavier Woods because he's obviously just won King of the Ring. And don't get me started on him beating the Demon Finn Balor. I mean, I don't even want to get into that. I know we've already talked about it, but that still vexes me up.
I don't blame you. It was that bad. That's how much it vexed you.
It was awful, man. It was awful. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Finn Balor's contract comes to an end in the next few years and he doesn't re-sign with WWE. I'd love to see him turn up in AEW and cause absolute chaos and take over the club from Kenny Omega. That's what I would love to see. Because Adam Cole's there right now. He was the leader of the Bullet Club after AJ Styles, I believe. And then he left to come to NXT, and Kenny Omega took over and kicked him out just the way AJ kicked Balor out. Let's have a look. Lesnar is on SmackDown tonight. Will be Roman versus Lesnar at Royal Rumble. Oh, come on. I don't even think it... Oh, my days. Oh, my days. I don't even want to see that. I know why it's going to be Royal Rumble, because at Survivor Series, it's going to be Roman versus Big E. Because it's basically Survivor Series is now Raw versus SmackDown, isn't it?
Yeah, but that was always...
And I would love to have them throw NXT back into it like they did once.
Oh, that year was...
That year that they did Survivor Series with NXT was the best Survivor Series I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, without doubt. I enjoyed that one, especially I think because NXT won it overall.
Yeah, they won overall. I think they won more matches than anybody. And that proves that NXT is the A show.
Yeah, right now, without a doubt.
Like, even with the new branding that looks like Art Attack had threw up on it, or a unicorn took a crap on it, it's just mad. Just crazy. Yeah, Darren, I agree with you on this. Kevin Owens will go to AEW when his contract is up to join Adam Cole. 100%. His contract's up soon, and you can tell he's not happy with the way that he's being used because he's not being used properly.
Do you know what? The thing that pisses me off the most?
Go on.
Is we're going through this card, and yet we could have done this podcast even without looking at the card and predicted pretty much all of the results.
So what I'm going to do, Shaz, like, I know we've been talking about the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, but I just want to mention a couple of things. I've got a list here of some dates when some contracts expire around the wrestling business, not just WWE, but outside of WWE as well. So I'm going to bring up a couple of names and tell you when their contracts are due to expire. So some of them are quite soon as well. Okay. AJ Styles is due to expire at the end of 2022. So he's probably got about a year left on his contract.
Yep.
When AJ signed, there was no AEW. You have to remember that. And he said that he will finish his career in WWE. Now, the thing with AJ Styles is every promotion he's held the world championship around the world. TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, WWE. The only title I think he hasn't held in WWE is the NXT Championship because he didn't go to NXT. He went straight to the main roster. Now, AJ Styles being the person that he is, I think he's going to want to hold the AEW World Championship. I think he's going to want to go over there and fight Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, and all these other Adam Page and all these other big names over there. And I would love to see AJ Styles do that.
We'd love to see it, but whether it happens or not is a different story.
It is a different story. So we've got Big E's contract runs out in December 2024, so he's got 3 years on it. Brock Lesnar's new contract that he signed this year was a 2-year deal, so that expires at the start of 2023. Wow, this is an interesting one. Cesaro signed a new deal this year for 4 to 5 years. That's crazy. So his contract will expire either 2025 WrestleMania or 2026 WrestleMania. So I don't know why he's done that. He could have gone back to Ring of Honor. He could have gone to AEW and done miles better. Edge's contract is actually due to expire at the end of this year.
Yeah. But do you reckon they'll renew it? Because
I think what they're going to do with Edge is because of his injury, they're going to add that injury time on to the end of his contract.
Okay. So yes, the contract, yeah.
Yeah. So WWE never used to do that before. They never, if you got injured for 3 months, they wouldn't add that 3 months onto the end of your contract. They've only started doing that now that AEW are about. Now, what I would like to see is Edge leave WWE and go to AEW and team with Christian.
Yes, I know.
I would love to see Edge go over to AEW and fight CM Punk, Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, Adam Page, and some of the other big names over there. I would love to see Edge and Christian versus some of the tag teams like FTR, the Young Bucks, Top Flight, the Seidel brothers. The list goes on, bro. The list goes on. Goldberg's contract expires the end of this year. So as of today, this is today. So his contract is that he fights 2 matches a year for WWE. That's his contract, bro.
I think he's done more than that.
I don't know, but that's his. I think minimum he has to do 2 matches a year on his contract, and it runs out at the end of this year. You know, I hope Goldberg doesn't re-sign. Interestingly, Jeff Hardy's contract is up at the end of this year. I'd love to see Matt and Jeff Hardy as the Hardy Boys in AEW against some of the tag teams there. I think that'd be really good.
But you know what? It's really simple. AEW invades WWE, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, 100%, bro, 100%. This is an interesting one. Probably the only Grand Slam, the first Grand Slam NXT champion, Johnny Gargano. His contract expires in December 2021.
Okay.
So his is up, and his wife Candice LeRae, hers is expiring at the same time. So we could see them move from WWE to, even if it's from NXT to Impact Wrestling or Ring of Honor or New Japan Pro Wrestling. I mean, they will eventually end up in AEW, but I think AEW have too much of a big roster right now to keep signing more people, because they've got their own talent as well as the talent that they're signing from like ex-WWE people. Karrion Kross signed a 4-year deal in February 2020. That's crazy. So the one that Darren mentioned earlier, Kevin Owens, his contract is due to be up around January to March coming 2022. So expect to see him in AEW very soon. This next comment, I get this. Gargano and Ciampa don't want to go to the main roster. I get that they don't want to go to Raw and SmackDown, but they can't just keep staying in NXT. I mean, they do better off in AEW. 100%.
Yeah, they might as well jump ship to AEW because...
But I get why they want to stay in NXT, because they don't have to tour around America and stuff. It's just based, at wherever the tapings are in Florida. They do go on tour sometimes, but not a lot. They haven't started retouring since the live shows have started again. Now, this next match that Darren's just mentioned, the Hardys versus the Young Bucks versus Edge and Christian in a ladder match, that will be insane. That will be insane. I'd love to see that. There's a couple of other contracts here. Riddle signed a contract worth £400,000 per year for 3 years in 2020, so he's got 2 years left. Now, The Miz, his contract actually runs out at the end of 2022. I don't see him re-signing.
I think he's got a year left anyway, and then he's.
I don't think he. The reason I'm saying he's not going to re-sign isn't because he's going to go to AEW. It's just because he's got other things going for him now. He's got 2 kids. He's got the Miz and Mrs. TV show. He's got movies coming out. I don't think he needs to be in WWE anymore. I'd love to see him stay because as a heel, he's one of the best heels WWE have. And on the mic, no one can beat him.
Yeah, without doubt. I don't think the board will be able to sanction a move for him either. So imagine Klopp, and they say, "You okay? We'll go get Klopp."
Yeah,
it does work. Same with wrestling analogy. Talent will only stay there as long as they're needed and feel valued. And I don't think anyone values them in WWE.
Check this one out. So Randy Orton signed a contract extension until 2024, which will give him more than $4.5 million per year.
Yeah.
So Darren's saying he will go Hollywood. He's talking about Miz. Yeah, 100%. I don't see the Miz wanting to stay and wrestle and put himself at risk when he's got 2 kids where he could just do movies.
He won't even have to leave his own house the way things are going.
Exactly.
You'll have robots deliver things to your door. That's how.
So Roman Reigns, his contract actually expires in around WrestleMania 2023.
It does, and
that's very interesting.
Hardly they're trying to play the game with most of the free agents and signing up on.
So I mean, there are quite a lot of people's contracts coming up that I'm really interested to see whether they stay or go. Now I know Kevin Owens is probably one of the ones I think is going to leave, but this is another one where I think he's going to leave. Sami Zayn, his is up at the end of this year.
Nice.
So it's saying he has been injured in the 3-year contract, so they're going to add that on.
Well, they have
so we're probably looking at probably end of 2022 or before he leaves. Shelton Benjamin, 2022. So this is an interesting one, Shaz. I don't know if you knew this. The Undertaker signed a 15-year contract with WWE in 2019, which prevents him to appear for any other promotion.
Yeah, I know that, and
I didn't know he did that.
No, I knew about it because I heard about it, and the way I understood it and read about the reports, it's basically this is the Undertaker's retirement fee. He isn't going to appear anywhere else anyway.
No, that's just Vince looking after him until whenever 15 years down the line, innit?
Yeah.
This next one is interesting because I want to see this guy get back in the ring. At the moment, he's currently NXT commentator Wade Barrett.
Ah, yes, Wade Barrett, yeah.
It says here his deal actually expired in September, just gone. So I'm guessing he's either re-signed or he's going month by month. I would love to see him sign as a wrestler because I want to see him back in the ring. Chris Jericho, his contract with AEW expires end of 2021.
Yeah, this year, basically. Whether he resigns or not, I think he will with AEW, but...
So, Christian signed with AEW recently in March until February 2024. Daniel Bryan is there till 2024 as well. Lance Archer, his contract's actually up in February 2022. So we could see him switch to WWE because he fits the mold for a WWE wrestler. Big guy, basically. the WWE love the big guys, innit?
Well, they may love the big guys, but they don't use it properly. I'll say that much.
That's very true. JR's contract is up until 2022. I don't know if you know who Joey Janela is from AEW.
I've come across the name, yeah.
Yeah, his contract's up in May 2022. Tony Schiavone, 2022 September. Kenny Omega, his contract runs out at the end of next year, but he's an executive vice president of AEW, so he ain't going nowhere. The Young Bucks, their contract runs out at the end of December next year, but I don't see them going anywhere. Now, this next one is one that a lot of people have said this person will end up in WWE when his contract expires at the end of 2023. MJF.
Okay.
I don't see it happening. I think he'll use WWE to get more money out of AEW.
Well, that's the problem, right? You're playing a very dangerous game, because if AEW come back and say, "I'll call your bluff," and then he somehow decides to leave, then I don't think it puts him in good position with anybody they go now.
No, that's true. That's true. So Chase Owens, he's a Ring of Honor superstar. His contract expires at the end of this year, so he could either go to AEW or WWE. Juice Robinson, he's another good wrestler from Ring of Honor. His contracts are up in January next year, the start of the year. EC3, I don't see him coming back to WWE. Flip Gordon, I don't know if you've heard of Flip Gordon, Chaz.
No, I haven't come across that name.
No, he is a good wrestler, Ring of Honor. His contract's up in May 2022. So we could see him move to AEW or WWE. Or he could, I think he'd go to NXT first if he came to WWE. I'm just trying to see if there's any others, but there's no other names on that list that I can see. Anyway, so let's have a look. There's a couple of comments here, Shaz. WWE like Arsenal, like running down contracts and letting talent leave for free. Yeah, I mean, they can't really keep a talent if they don't want to sign a new contract, so they'll have to let the contract run down. The thing is, though, when the contract ends, there's no 90-day compete clause. They can go the day after their contract expires. They can go onto another show straight away. Like Adam Cole, that's why he was in AEW so quickly. And Daniel Bryan.
Next day, yeah, literally next day.
If their contract is terminated or mutual agreement like Bray Wyatt's, they have a 90-day no-compete. And there was an issue with Aleister Black, who's Malachi Black in AEW. Someone forgot to change it from 30-day no-compete to 90 when he moved from NXT to the main roster. That's just literally what happened.
So he basically, because of stupid admin error.
Yeah, so that's why he was in AEW quicker than he should have been, really, because everyone was expecting a 90-day no-compete, but it was actually only 30. So that's crazy, that. And it was his wife that just won the Queen's Crown. That's his girlfriend or wife or whatever.
Yeah.
Another comment. Have you guys watched the Undertaker program on Netflix? Is that the one about the haunted house with the New Day? I've heard of it, but I've not watched it. Don't want to watch it. Looks stupid. But I'm guessing this is how Undertaker's going to keep up making money with, not just being paid to sit at home. He'll do things like shows on Netflix and stuff like that. And he'll make an odd appearance here and there on shows where he'll just come to the ring, tombstone someone and leave.
Okay, Escape the Undertaker.
Yeah. That's the one, bro. That's the one.
Oh, wow. They've actually got a whole...
Yeah, bro. It's a whole show.
Yeah.
It's the whole show, bro. But that is all we have time for, people, today. We've run out of time on the show. Shaz, where have you disappeared to? Your camera's been off for ages, bro. You need to get back on so you can say bye to the fans, bro.
I am.
Let them see that ugly mug, bro.
I'm actually just been in the other room, just walking around with my headphones in my ears.
Oh, right, okay. No worries. But yeah, that is all we have time for today, folks. We will be back again tomorrow with an edition of The Finished Cut, where we will be reviewing the movie Training Days. So if you like the movie and you want to hear our thoughts on it, tune in and give us your thoughts as well. Sunday, we're having a day off. That's all I'm saying. We're having a day off, man. We're having a day off on Sunday. Monday, we'll be back with a review of Man United probably losing to Liverpool. That's all I'm saying. Tuesday, we have a special edition of Just the Finished Article podcast, where we will be talking about anything and everything. It can be sports, it can be non-sports. So if you want to get any questions in about anything at all, that's probably the best show to get them in, because we can answer any questions on any topic on that show. Wednesday and Thursday, we'll be back again with wrestling and all things football as well. So that's the schedule for the rest of the week. As always, we'll be on around the same time, around 10 to 10:30. I believe Shaz and Rich will be getting an episode of All Things Sky Blue out over the next couple of days as well. But look out for that in the schedule. That hasn't been scheduled yet, but Shaz and Rich will get that scheduled. And I think, I don't know if other people are going to be on it with you, Shaz. Let the people know.
Yeah, don't worry. I've reached out to a few people, so that will be in the calendars or in the schedules too.
Cool.
So yeah, stay tuned for that as well.
Sweet. And one other note, just for people that have tuned in, there are some collaborations coming up with other podcasts on wrestling, where we'll be going on their show and they'll be coming on our show. I won't be giving the names of the shows out right now. We are still working on the details and dates. And the same goes for All Things Sky Blue. There is something in the pipeline for the guys to go on another show about Sky Blues and Coventry City. That's probably going to be mid to late November. But when we get the dates and everything sorted for that, we will release all that information when we can. But I appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate the love and support. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in.